If you're thinking about moving to St. George, don't choose a neighborhood until you watch this video. Some areas look perfect on paper, but only a few truly deliver the schools, lifestyle, and community vibe that you're looking for. Today, we're breaking down the highways and layout that you need to understand, the areas most people end up leaving with better options nearby, and the top neighborhoods in St. George, including what they're really like, what they cost, and who they're best for. We're Michonne and Nick Rostopchin, local real estate agents here in St. George. We've helped dozens of families, professionals, and retirees find their fit here in St. George. And today we're giving you the honest insider perspective so that you can move here with confidence.
In today's video, we're going to talk about top 5 of the most popular St. George neighborhoods. And folks, before we begin, I'd like you to know that Michonne and I are not compiling this list based on the color of your skin, sexual preferences, religious preferences, or anything like that. That would be considered steering. And how can we steer? Because we don't even know you yet. But anyway, steering is in violation with federal laws, and we take that very seriously. So the information that we're about to share with you is based on personal experiences shared with us by our clients that we've helped move in those neighborhoods and some of the locals. So without further ado, somebody actually called me out on saying that on one of our recent videos. Without further ado.
Wait, what, called you out on what?
Saying without further ado. They're like, don't say without further ado, just say it. So now that we've divulged, let's just dive into it and talk about the lay of the land. First, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the ways you get around St. George, Utah. There are 2 main arteries that allow you to navigate around St. George from north to south, and that would be Interstate 15 and SR 7. Interstate 15 connects you from pretty much downtown St. George and all the way, well, not just downtown St. George, it starts out south of St. George all the way from the border of Utah and Nevada, and then it goes all the way north. So I'm looking at this map upside down right now, so there we are.
That's why it was confusing me.
It's a little bit confusing because south is up and north is down with the current view of the map. So you cross I-15 and it pretty much takes you all the way across. So in future reference, I-15 corridor and the SR7 are the 2 of the fastest ways to get across this area. And everything is kind of within these boundaries where, you know, you've got SR7 that hugs the Arizona border and takes you from north to south.
It's
almost like a ring, like it
it's a
wraps
half
around.
circle. We're missing the other half because it goes through the Tortoise Preserve and they're navigating through that. But yeah, it's a big.
But yeah, north to south kind of just hugs the community, and that's the way to get around. And St. George itself, you've got
the boulevard that goes all the way through downtown, and then you have Bluff.
Well, the boulevard is kind of the distinctive marker of like the downtown area, and it takes you.
Oh, sorry, that took you like. What?
It took me like the very beginning of St. George Boulevard, but it's okay. We're like right up by downtown. You're up on this bluff.
Yeah.
And St. George Boulevard takes you from Bluff to basically I-15.
Yeah. So then, yeah, you've got the boulevard. Bluff will take you from Sunset, which is on your way to Santa Clara, all the way to I-15.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
well, it turns into a Dixie Drive.
Yeah. And then we also have River Road, that's a main artery.
River Road is a main artery, so it's one of the great places to avoid during rush hour traffic. Just want to show you guys on the map where River Road is. And River Road pretty much takes you, again, from north to south. It crosses the entire community and it turns into Telegraph in Washington, and it follows I-15 and SR7. So there's really, you've got River Road and Riverside Road, SR7 and I-15, and everything goes in different directions off of those areas. So let's talk a little bit about the top 5 communities that everybody seems to want to move to.
So number 1 on our list, we are going to cover downtown St. George. It's the most historic neighborhood in St. George. And I made a little list of the pros and cons. So let's start with the pros. Cool historic homes. No 2 homes are truly alike. Mature landscaping, big trees, and lots of grass. Walking distance to restaurants, parks, and shopping is probably going to be the closest out of any neighborhood. Close to all the events and activities. And then for the cons, older homes needing major repairs or updates, limited parking because the homes are generally built on smaller lots, less HOA managed amenities. There wasn't really HOAs back then, so you're not going to get any of those amenities, but there are several clubhouses around St. George that you could join, like monthly memberships, if that's something that you're looking for. So older homes tend to have some obsolescence that cannot be cured. Low 8-foot ceilings. Yeah. Low 8-foot ceilings, 7-foot doors, quirky floor plans, which I personally like. I like homes that have character. The rooms were a little bit smaller. Small bedrooms, smaller bathrooms. Some homes have covered carports and no garage. That is pretty common in downtown St. George. Often the slab and the foundation suffers from the tree root damage, and the slab may need some substantial repairs. We've seen majority of that in downtown if homes do have that issue.
And you'd be surprised. I know depending on where you're watching this video, large portion of the country, like nobody is impressed by the fact that somebody's home is 100 years old. Around here, southern Utah is relatively new, like Utah in general. So downtown St. George is where you might see some homes that are built in like the 1800s. Like that's probably some of the oldest. We actually just recently heard a story about somebody digging for a pool in their backyard and they discovered a horse carcass.
It was my aunt and uncle's neighbor.
And it's the Wild West.
After they saw that, they decided to stop digging because maybe they would see more. You never know.
You never know. And this is really truly like some of the Wild West history is still well kept there, and that may be an argument for somebody wanting to live down there. I've also seen, the reason why I started bringing up the age of these properties is because we've had a listing next to the St. George Temple that had some extensive tree root damage from the trees that weren't typically known. There were pines. I'm not an expert on trees or exactly how the tree root systems work, but to my knowledge, pine trees don't usually have a very robust root system. And the listing that we had that was like really, really close to the temple on 600 South.
Like a half a block away.
A half a block away. It had a lot of interest, even though it was an older house that needed quite a bit of work. But it seems like a lot of locals and people that are relocating here from Salt Lake City, the view of the temple or being in a close proximity is a big selling point. So anybody that's considering a home nearby. Anyway, those pine trees had destroyed the slab and it had quite a bit of
huge
work
cracks that went through the kitchen and into the family room, but people are like, I don't care. I mean, it's fixable, but it's still
We ended up selling that house 3 times. We brought a buyer and then our buyer wanted to sell it again. So it's a listing that stayed as a part of our portfolio for a while.
While we're on story time, I did want to mention a lot of the homes downtown St. George, there are quite a bit of historic homes that you cannot alter or change. One of the homes, do you know when that home was built?
It was built in the 1800s and it belonged to...
Wait. So as Nick was showing it, he was noticing all the bedrooms had their own little like countertops, sink, medicine cabinet in every single room. I went with you on that one. I was like, that's kind of weird. And then the countertop in the kitchen was extra wide, extra deep, which is common nowadays, but back then that wasn't common for your like kitchen counter to be that big.
It was very hospital-like.
Yeah, and then Nick noticed that there wasn't an oven in the kitchen, and in the listing description it said the seller will provide a credit for the oven. And I'm like, how do you not have an oven in the kitchen?
Well, evidently the gas lines were also not ran to the kitchen because they were routed outside to the shed. So that particular doctor happened to be St. George's first.
He was the first doctor.
He was the first one to receive babies. He was the first one to practice natural medicine.
So he had patients in there. He was the first doctor, the first delivery doctor, the first
mortician,
vet, and mortician. The gas lines ran to the shed because that's where he did cremations.
Well, I was going to
And he did surgeries on the kitchen table.
Yeah, so now it's a part of St. George history. Probably by far one of the creepiest listings that we've ever shown. No offense to anybody that decided to purchase it. I was just getting a little bit of a vibe, you know. Real estate is local and it's definitely all about the feel. So if you're watching these videos and you're thinking about, you know, I'm going to select the neighborhood based off just that, we truly appreciate your trust. But I always say that real estate is how you feel. You know, home is how you feel.
Yeah, you can't just go off a listing and like, hey, this checks all the boxes. Like, you need to go there in person and be like, does this feel right? Does this feel like home to me?
So if you want to be downtown, be ready for some very interesting properties. No two are alike, and it's becoming a little bit of a blend. I feel like when I first moved here 10 years ago, downtown St. George was nowhere near as cool as it is right now. And even looking at these 3D maps on Google Earth, you can tell that, you know, we've got the new Washington County building. There are some more bars and nightlife entertainment downtown, which, you know, we are in Utah. Getting a liquor license here is nearly impossible, which is actually more of a pro than a con for a lot of our clients that are moving here. I feel like, I don't know, if nightlife is your thing, you're probably not even looking at Southern Utah. And if you don't like the byproducts of nightlife, all of the ugly things, well, we don't really have a whole lot to deal with here. So if you're trying to avoid downtown just because of transiency and proximity to the venues.
The last con on my list is, while downtown area has pretty much mixed demographics, it may be less ideal for families with kids. Most communities surrounding Crimson and Desert Hills boundaries tend to attract a lot more families with children. And while we're talking about schools, elementaries that service the downtown St. George area are going to be Heritage School, which is pre-K through 5th grade, and Legacy School, pre-K through 5th grade. There are several options for private schools. So there is Liberty Youth Academy, which is a Christian-based school. Ronald and Hatch Academy, which is 3rd grade through 12th. Liberty Youth is also kindergarten through 12th. Intermediate is going to be Dixie Middle School and Tonnequint Intermediate. And high school is going to be Dixie High School and Career Tech High School. And that is it for our schools.
Definitely some great options, and we've heard incredible feedback from a lot of the parents that have kids in all of those schools. I will also link I'll link several links in the description below this video. One for each community that we're talking about, so you guys can see all of the active listings downtown and in all of the communities that we're about to discuss after this. And I will also include a link for a school boundary and bus route map overlay, because I know just about anywhere, Washington County is no exception, none of this stuff really makes sense. Like, the boundaries aren't just by specific areas or schools, and it can be quite tricky. So give us a call if you're having trouble navigating that or figuring out because you have a specific need for children to be in a specific school. We would be happy to point you in the right direction and help you navigate through that. But let's dive into Bloomington and Bloomington Hills.
That is the second, well, we're mixing two neighborhoods in one area for this topic. They are pretty close in proximity. They're just separated by I-15. The pros for both of these areas, very unique homes, typically on a 1/4 acre lot, or some are on larger lots. No HOA for either of these communities. Great deals can both be found in both of these communities. Established neighborhoods with mature landscaping, trees, and a lot of grass. No two homes are truly alike. Most homes have a lot of character, which I love. Both communities are on Dixie Power, which, as we've continued to talk about in our videos, is the 3rd cheapest power company in the nation. A lot of the homes have been remodeled and updated.
And both of these communities are quite large because If you just look at the land mass area, we're currently looking at Bloomington right now, and there's quite a bit of terrain. Right behind Bloomington, you have these massive buttes, and you've got just a really nice neighborhood feel. Both Bloomington and Bloomington Hills are on the golf course, so if you're into living in a golf course-like community, there are actually, I believe within the Bloomington Hills or Bloomington Country Club, there is a small pocket that has a small HOA, but this is probably the most affordable way for somebody to live on the golf course without paying an HOA fee like Entrada.
And Bloomington, their country club is, I believe you can do a monthly membership there. We have a lot of friends that do and love it. They have tennis courts, an amazing outdoor pool, so yeah, definitely worth checking out.
And Bloomington has, as Michonne mentioned, kind of a variety of different options for homes, different styles. Bloomington Ranches will have some really nice large lots, often over an acre, with estate type properties. The listings in that area are kind of few and far between. You don't really see a whole lot of them, so if you're into that kind of thing, it's definitely not something that you could just walk into. You kind of have to wait for one to come up. But Bloomington and Bloomington Hills will give you both like some really nice options for what I would consider affordable in today's market.
And it's pretty close downtown. So we used to live in the middle of both of these communities, pretty close to this area. And to go downtown to get food, shopping, anything, it was about a 10-minute drive. But as we've talked about in our previous videos, Sun River is just the community neighboring.
Just to the south.
Yeah, neighboring with Bloomington. And the second Costco's going in right there. There's going to be a second In-N-Out, Sakura, a really nice Japanese restaurant. So there's a lot of restaurants, medical, and shopping going in. They just put a Smith's in their grocery store. So there's going to be a lot more shopping. So you don't have to go too far. You'll drive like 3 minutes instead of 10 minutes to go downtown.
And both of these communities have some terrain. Hopefully this map is doing a good job demonstrating that for you guys. And talking about terrain, I think if you're watching this video or if you're considering St. George or Southern Utah, there's a really good chance that you're either into hiking, mountain biking, off-roading. And if you happen to live in Bloomington, check this out. The cool thing about Bloomington is there are some trails, like the Navajo Trail that starts basically right here at the back of the community. And yeah, it takes you into the open desert. So right here you get out of the community and this trail literally takes you into Nevada, into Arizona and Nevada. And then there are trails that take you all the way up to like the Virgin River Gorge, just on the side of I-15 as it cuts through like Nevada and Arizona. You could ride your side-by-sides or mountain bikes and come up to these incredible overlooks. You'll see rams and mountain goats and all sorts of wildlife. So how crazy is that? Like, this is literally right in your backyard.
Is that the trail that we took to go to Mesquite?
Yeah, that's the trail that we took to go.
Or
well,
not
there
Mesquite,
are
but-
several. So there's a trail that takes you from here to Beaver Dam, Arizona.
Yeah, that's where we went.
Beaver Dam, Arizona is a very interesting place.
Did we go there to get like scratch-off tickets?
Yes, that's where people
Okay.
go to buy lotto, because in Utah, lottery is not something that's I guess legal, state by state. So if you're into gambling,
We're not big gamblers, but
Nor
I think
do we
scratch-off
encourage it.
No, I think scratch-off tickets are kind of fun. So we just went down there to go grab lunch and go grab some.
There's a good chance you're going to lose every time, but
Yeah.
we still take our chances. So there's this teeny tiny town of Beaver Dam, Arizona. You guys can see it. This is all of it. It's right off of I-15, but also like Utah is just over this mountain peak right there.
Okay, and then Bloomington and Bloomington Hills. I didn't get a chance to cover the cons. Let's go over that. So there's going to be mixed property upkeep. Some homes have a lot of deferred maintenance that are ready for a full remodel. Some homes have obsolescent floor plans that may require a gut rehab. Some of the obsolescence may be incurable, similar to some of the properties found downtown. Limited to new construction inventory. Majority of the homes are sold and developed, with very few homes that were built in the last 10 years. A good portion of the homes in these areas are used as rentals, so there may be no telling how long or how much longer the next door neighbor is going to stay.
And that's partly, because a lot of these single family homes are just very usable, that sort of perfect size, like 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, or 3 bed, 2 bath, 2.5 bath. So a lot of these homes fall under the category of, I use the word affordable loosely, affordable based on the current market. I know somebody might watch this video and say, well, $500,000 isn't affordable, but that's kind of the middle to the entry point into real estate here. So naturally, a lot of these homes could have a tendency to become rentals.
I feel like they were probably from locals that used to own them as their primary, and then
they've upgraded.
Yeah, when rates were super low, they probably bought another property and then kept it as a rental. I'm sure majority of the rentals are like cases like that when they were affordable.
Most of these homes are well kept. Keep in mind, these communities do not have an HOA, so there's no saying on what the next door neighbor's yard might look like. But when I say that, I know a lot of you are probably thinking about a pit bull tied up to a chain link fence. You're not going to find that.
No,
in
we're just talking
Utah.
about maybe some weed overgrowth. But I mean, we drive through these neighborhoods all the time, and there's
not that kind of weed.
What are you talking about? Stop. No, like they're just not taking care of their landscaping.
Right. The grass is 2 inches too tall.
The last con on my list was majority of these areas, these neighborhoods do not have sidewalks or gutters, which is weird. I mean, most neighborhoods even downtown has sidewalk and gutters, which is older.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of different, but you probably wouldn't even notice. I'm just super OCD, so I notice
And
everything.
these are kind of the original St. George neighborhoods that were developed here. This golf course is very green and luscious. Please don't trust Google Earth. It's not giving it the most accurate depiction. I just wanted to show you guys where things are. So we'll also overlay some drone footage to show you how beautiful this neighborhood really is. Given all the cons, I have to say that I am a little bit biased. So if you're looking to purchase something that's affordable, something that's going to be a great deal in this market, I would definitely not skip these neighborhoods. If you can live with all the cons, I really think that, based on the stories that we're hearing from a lot of our clients that are moving into this community, they love it. The location is great. They're very kid friendly, and they're really, really close to everything. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a link in the description below this video, and it's a live link. So regardless of when you're watching this video, because we wanted to create a video that's going to be useful for hopefully years to come. So if you're watching this in the summer of 2025, you'll see the most recent inventory, as well as any time in the future. It'll just automatically update.
The schools for these neighborhoods, the elementary schools for Bloomington is going to be Bloomington Elementary. Bloomington Hills is Bloomington Hills Elementary. Intermediate schools, Bloomington is Dixie Intermediate and Tonnequin Intermediate. Bloomington Hills is Sunrise Ridge Intermediate. Middle schools are going to be, for Bloomington, is Dixie Middle School. Bloomington Hills is going to be Desert Hills Middle School. High schools for Bloomington is Dixie High School, and then Bloomington Hills is going to be Desert Hills High School. That was a mouthful, all of that.
Good job. All right. So this is it for Bloomington and Bloomington Hills. Gets a big thumbs up from Nick. If you're looking in those areas, I would say keep looking. Something perfect is out there. What's next?
Next, we have Desert Canyons. I'm going to cover the pros of this area. Scenic beauty and natural surroundings that back up to the Arizona border. Newer homes in a master plan community with parks, trails, its family friendly features. I literally can't talk today. Access to outdoor recreation, hiking, biking, and ATV trails with access right from your house. Minutes to Sand Hollow Reservoir, Sand Dunes, Quail Creek State Park,
It's quiet and less crowded compared to St. George. Desert Canyons tends to be quieter and less congested. Family friendly, designed with families in mind, with parks, planned schools, community amenities, good potential for property value appreciation as the area develops, because it's kind of out there on its own. It's just a short drive from the airport.
Pretty young neighborhood, as you guys saw, just barely. You're just minutes away from St. George Airport, and there's quite a bit that's going in here.
We used to want to buy a lot out there that backed up to the Arizona border, because we have a friend that lives out there, and his pool, he didn't put the wall up because it just backs up to the Arizona border, and the views are amazing, but the time zone kept going back and forth.
As you guys can see on the map here, this is the edge of Desert Canyons, and right here on the left here in Arizona, and Utah literally stops right here. So if you're hanging out by the pool anywhere on this street, there's a good chance that your iPhone, your Apple Watch will be jumping from Utah to Arizona time. In my opinion, one of the biggest pros and the biggest cons of this neighborhood is the proximity to the state of Arizona.
Wait, why is that a con?
Well, it's a con because just like when it happened to us the last time we were over here by the pool at one of our friends' houses.
Yeah, your phone was stuck in Arizona time for like a whole day.
And you couldn't convince me that I was wrong.
I kept telling him, I'm like, you're going to be late to this appointment, you're going to be late to that appointment. He's like, no, all my devices say this. I'm like, yours is wrong.
So as you can imagine, if you want rear privacy, this is a very deserted side of Arizona. There is no development here. Can't ever guarantee that it won't happen in the future, but you've got Arizona on one side, SR7 kind of on the front of this neighborhood, and there are so many different exits that are now connecting SR7 to the rest of the community, where it has become almost as usable as I-15, if not more. Like living in Hurricane, we use SR7 to commute just about anywhere. It is a 2-lane highway that takes you north to south, and Desert Canyons is conveniently located right off of this interchange. Some people may consider it to be a little bit further than, say, Little Valley or some of the other St. George proper neighborhoods. But that, again, the proximity and the location can be both a pro and a con depending on what you're into.
Well, and imagine how much more it's going to get built out there, because it's all just a blank slate right now. So we're going to go ahead and cover the cons next. Distance from central St. George is around 15 to 20 minutes, which may feel inconvenient for commuting, shopping, or dining. Limited commercial development for now. Retail, dining, and entertainment options are still developing. Residents may need to travel to other parts of St. George or Washington for basic services and groceries. Ongoing construction as the area is growing. There is a lot of building activity, which can mean noise, dust, and traffic detours. HOA restrictions. Some neighborhoods have HOAs with strict covenants and fees, which can be a backdraw depending on personal preferences. But I believe most subdivisions within this area do not have an HOA.
And they're pretty minimal if they do. There is a portion of Desert Canyons that has some amenities. Like this section has a pool with a clubhouse, and there is a pretty nominal HOA. I believe it's like $50 or $60 a month. For most people, if you want to have access to the pool without the maintenance, it's not too terrible. It's much cheaper than owning a pool.
There are some townhomes over in that area that do have an HOA.
And these townhomes might have an HOA for upkeep of common grounds or maybe building insurance. It's all usually within the MLS listing description, and as I mentioned earlier, we'll link them down below so you guys could see what has an HOA and what doesn't.
And then the schools for Desert Canyons Elementary is Desert Canyons Elementary was right there in the subdivision.
There it is.
Intermediate is going to be Sunrise Ridge Intermediate, and then middle school is Desert Hills Middle School, and then high school is Desert Hills High School.
And there are some lots available, so this community, I believe, is going to develop further towards town, and it is subject to grow. As you can see, even on these Google Earth images, there's still quite a bit of dirt that could be moved and developed, and it is for sure happening on both sides of SR7. There's quite a bit of development that's going in here, and it seems like the local City Zoning and Planning Commission is is finally starting to allow more commercial development, which we need so badly because
Like on the outer skirts.
on the outer skirts of southern Utah or southern part of southern Utah, like right around St. George, it seems like every time we're showing houses, if us or our clients, anybody has to make a pit stop at the gas station, you end up driving quite a bit because everything is just houses for miles.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into neighborhood number 4, which is Little Valley. And as Nick navigates the Little Valley, I'm going to go over the pros. Why buyers love it. It's top-ranked schools, family-focused community, sports fields, parks, and newer construction homes. Quiet suburban vibe with bike trails, sidewalks, and community pride. Excellent schools, Little Valley Elementary, Bloomington Junior High, and Desert Hills Middle High School. Commute is about 10 minutes to downtown St. George, 10 minutes to Costco. It is on Dixie Power. Home prices, median price is $600,000 to $900,000. Luxury home builds exceed $1 million. It is best fit for families prioritizing schools, newer homes, and community amenities. The trade-offs are HOAs common fewer dining or retail options within the neighborhood itself, spacious lots and diverse home options. Homes range from starter homes to upscale estates. Wait, there are no HOAs over here, right?
You know, Little Valley may have some pretty nominal HOAs through portions of it. It is a huge neighborhood. And then another thing about Little Valley too is within Little Valley, like Little Valley is kind of a nickname for a much larger area than just one neighborhood. So like pretty much from like Little Valley Pickleball Complex all the way up to like the border of Washington Fields.
And all the way to the border of the airport mountain.
And all the way to the border
It's a
of the
large
airport.
area.
There are a couple of smaller subdivisions that fit in into that general part of town. So if somebody's referring to you as Little Valley, that's what they mean. It may not necessarily be Little Valley. Like you go from Meadow Valley Farms to Little Valley proper and almost in the borders of Washington Fields. That's kind of what people are referring to. So we're not, for the scope of this video, we're unable to break it down to the micro scale of every little neighborhood that goes into it. Majority of it doesn't have an HOA, but there are some pockets that have an HOA, and it's usually for like upkeep of common area and stuff like that.
So Little Valley is mostly known as like the younger families with kids. It's like the kid mecca because of the school zones. They have the most sought after school boundaries and schools that people want to have their kids in. If you drive around there during school season, right after school gets out, it's like hundreds of kids.
Yeah, you're not
running.
driving anywhere faster than 5 miles per hour.
Now we'll dive into the cons of Little Valley. Housing costs are on the rise. Median home costs are around $700,000. Limited commercial development, miles of suburban sprawl with no shopping, dining, or convenience stores, rapid development and construction. So they do have a little shopping area right in the middle of Little Valley that has a little ice cream shop, I think like a little bakery. They have of course a soda shop.
Of course there's a soda shop.
We make a joke about that because there's literally a little soda shop and car wash on every corner of all of St. George.
And Little Valley kind of sprawls off of River Road. And River Road takes you to pretty much
Show 'em River Road.
anything. So
Right there.
River Road is right here. It's this big road that curves around it. And all the streets in Little Valley more or less lead you to River Road. And then River Road takes you to shopping. There's a shopping complex right here. Evidently this map isn't fully updated yet.
But that's all built out.
This entire area is built out over by Summit Athletic Club. This entire section is built out with commercial like Sprouts. There's several restaurants and shops, of course, car washes, soda shops.
You know the little shopping area I'm talking about that's in Little Valley?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's got like a burn boot camp. It's got
Yeah, it's got a little cafe. It's
Yeah.
nothing. I wouldn't say that it would prevent you from dying of hunger.
Okay, now the schools for Little Valley. Okay, elementary schools is going to be Crimson View Elementary, George Washington Academy, which is a charter school, K through 8,
South Mesa Elementary, Little Valley Elementary. Intermediate schools are going to be Sunrise Ridge Intermediate, and then there's Desert Hills Middle School, and then Desert Hills High School. I think Crimson Middle, depending on the boundary, because Little Valley and then the Crimson boundaries are pretty close. So, depending on where you live, you might have Crimson Middle or Crimson High. Charter or alternative options. There's Freedom Preparatory Academy, which is a K through 12 charter school. That's a pretty sought after school. The George Washington Academy, like I already covered, that's another sought after charter school, K through 8. I think that about does it for Little Valley. And the last neighborhood on our list is Desert Color. I'll go ahead and cover the pros of Desert Color. It's the newest master plan community featuring a 2.5 acre lagoon, parks, trails, and modern designs, resort style feel, and vibrant community events. It's a 15-minute commute to downtown right off Southern Parkway, or you can get right on I-15.
And I wanted, if you don't mind, I wanted to show you guys the location. So here we are. This is where I-15 comes into the community. So just a little bit south of Desert Color is literally the Arizona-Nevada border.
It's like the very
so
corner.
It's the very, very southern corner of southern Utah. It's about as far south as it goes. As you can see, there's Arizona border right here, so it backs up to that. And I believe it was like a 10-year project to fill in this entire space. So as you guys see, this entire triangle on this side, this is how far this community has grown. And there are some single-family homes, there are some vacation rentals.
Can you do the 3D view of it?
Yeah. As we cruise into the neighborhood right here.
Yeah, this is so behind because it is.
It is
like,
way more built out
yeah.
than that, and we'll show you guys some of the drone B-roll to show you what this community is all
the 3D
about.
has them like all flattened.
It's, if you give it a second,
Oh, okay.
it'll load, it'll inflate a little bit.
Okay, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and cover the cons of this area. Ongoing construction, as well as HOA fees and monthly cost. Well, they add to the monthly cost. Resort atmosphere might not suit everyone. Smaller size lots and close proximity to neighbors. And there is one way in and one way out, and it could possibly get very congested if for some reason everybody had to like leave at the same time. That's probably the thing I dislike about it the most is the smaller lot sizes. It kind of feels like when you're going to like Park City and everything, or
Yeah.
LA, like everything.
It feels like
tight.
a little beachfront or downtown
yeah.
community, minus the beach or
Yeah.
downtown.
Like I like a little bit more space between my neighbors personally. But if you're a young family with kids and you don't really mind any of that and you want to live there because of the amenities, I do think they have probably the best amenities in all of southern Utah because of that lagoon.
And your proximity, like within, again, this map is a little bit out of date, but right here you have Big Shots, golf experience. There's a bar and a restaurant across the parkway. You've got new Costco coming in. There's a grocery
Tons of
store.
restaurants.
There's tons of stuff that's within like a 2-minute drive. You've got pretty much everything you need there.
The schools for this area is going to be Freedom Prep Academy, the charter school that we discussed, and then Desert Canyons Elementary. Intermediate and middle schools is going to be Sunrise Ridge Intermediate, Desert Hills Middle School. High school is going to be Desert Hills High School.
Moving to St. George can feel overwhelming with so many neighborhoods, price points, and lifestyle differences. Nobody wants to make an expensive mistake or end up in an area that doesn't fit their goals. As local experts, that's exactly what we help our clients with every single week. If you want honest, personalized guidance on the best neighborhoods for your goals, call or text us anytime. You'll be talking directly with us. Or if you want to keep exploring St. George, check out this next video right here. We'll see you there.